Now for a review of what's making the headlines in the papers this morning, let's bring in our RISE analyst, Constance Ikoku. Good morning, Dr. Constance.
Good morning, Charles. It's midweek. Yolanda, why are you laughing?
Because you sound so happy. I'm happy too. It's ready.
Who did you say sounds happy? Myself or Charles?
You do. You
do.
Oh,
okay. I'm always happy.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, I don't have a dull moment. Hardly. So good morning, Yolanda.
Good morning.
You sound happy too.
I am.
What's special about midweek anyway?
I don't know. Maybe it's just 2 days left to the weekend, Yeah, but, it all feels good. Okay, to review the papers with us today, we have Ben Sherman. He is a former director of news of Voice of Nigeria. Hello there and welcome to the program. We'll begin with this day. A couple of stories there. Buoyed by portfolio investments, capital importation improves to $5.64 billion in Q1. The most fascinating thing about this information from the National Bureau of Statistics is that Abuja, the capital city, has displaced Lagos as a top foreign investment destination. This report does not give reasons why this is the case, but much of the capital importation came from the UK first, followed by South Africa and Mauritius. The states that recorded these investments, apart from Abuja, are Lagos, $2.56 billion. We have Ogun State, $7.95 million. Oyo State, $7.81 million. And Kaduna, $4.06 million. Abuja attracted the highest, as we've said earlier, $3.04 billion. It's new, Lagos, from Lagos to Abuja. But in the light of this data, it will be necessary for other states to learn what reforms these top destinations put in place in order to attract investment. I know we have the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, that has been on for a couple of years. It's been focused on, the ease of doing business, reducing bottlenecks, streamlining businesses, and more. So states have to be more serious about this ban.
Absolutely, and like you rightly said, Abuja, that is known as a civil service center, is now a center of business, and that's why it's taking the lead overthrowing Lagos, if I'll put it that way. And one wonders, look at the entire northern states, only one Kaduna state that is being mentioned. And not just that, you look at other geopolitical zones, it means that something ought to have been done, or something should be done now to ensure that they up their ante in terms of also ensuring that there's this capital inflow. You import investments, so to speak. But how free, how nice are the investment climates in this state? So if they make it nice, investors will come in. And of course, when you begin to see that the North in particular, I'm from the North, and that's why I'm hammering this. In most cases, you see that there's always that dependency on federal government largesse and all that stuff. But if you also check, many industries in Nigeria are, in northern Nigeria, talking of the textile industry in particular, you see that they are nowhere to be found. They used to be a very huge investment, place for Nigerians. But all those things are not there in the north. Apart from that, insecurity here and there. But good thing, if you look at the southwest, Lagos is there, Ogun is there, Oyo is there. So it's good. It's kudos for them. But we also know that the southeastern part of this country are never a pushover when it comes to investments. But what has gone wrong? This is the question that we should be looking at. Yeah,
so I guess the most important thing is that there are states doing it so others can learn. And there is an office that is dedicated to this. And then you can also see that for many states, government or politics is the industry,
exactly.
which is a problem. Let's stay with this day newspaper. We have other stories. Politicians are still fighting for and against President Bola Tinubu, each trying to either quench that exclusion narrative from the north or intensify that argument. Here we have the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Dangiwa, tells us that Tinubu is building 6,112 homes has upgraded 150 slums and created over 152,000 jobs in the north. But former Minister of Police Affairs Alhaji Adamu Waziri describes Tinubu's government as a total disaster, declaring it worse than that of late former President Muhammad Buhari. Ben, there is a clear division in the north. What do you think this means for the presidency? Or for President Bola Tinubu?
I think that the North is just been divisive. It has divided itself. It's fighting against itself. And you could see that in terms of trying to show President Tinubu's achievements, the Minister of Works, Dangiwa, is saying that this is what this man is delivering.
No, Minister of Housing and Urban Development.
Yeah, exactly. And now he said this is what the government is doing. It's something you can see, it's something you can visit. But here we are, we're having a former Minister of Police Affairs, Adamu Waziri, who is still talking about security or insecurity in the north, and that Tinubu failed woefully. As a police, he should be able to also bring out, during his time, these were the things he did, and there was insecurity during that time. But when you just wake up and you feel you should just rubbish an entire thing, I think that we should be talking with facts checking some of our statements. And a time like this, that the North is just simply fighting against itself. Some people saying, okay, Tinubu will not have a second time. It's really not about Tinubu not having a second time. We want to see what developments there are that people are enjoying. And we've also had these northerners who have been presidents too. I think we should begin to have a checklist where we begin to tick and say, this is what they have done. If they had allowed, the same North had allowed Shehu Shagari to continue in power, recall that every local government, he said, he was going to have 500 houses, every local per year. But that government was truncated. We would have been somewhere very so nice, instead of this castigating ourselves in the North before the public eye in a public square. I think it's not the best.
Before we move on from this day, one more story. The wife of late MKO Abiola and former MD of Concord newspaper, Doyi Abiola, has passed at 82. She was a woman of many firsts: first female editor of a Nigerian national daily, first female managing director and publisher of the Concord, first Nigerian woman to be editor-in-chief of a daily paper. She was indeed a trailblazer. May her soul rest in peace. Okay, let's see Daily Trust newspaper. Southern candidate Jonathan Obi. A couple of other papers lead with this issue of the presidency in 2027. Let's see Daily Sun, which says 2027 PDP zones presidency to South. And above the mast, my one-term presidency will focus on reforms, not my personal ambition, according to, excuse me, Mr. Peter Obi. And in the Vanguard newspaper, 2027, Obi's single-term pledge raises dust. In that Daily Trust piece, if we return there briefly, we're hearing that the People's Democratic Party is weighing the chances of former President Goodluck Jonathan and Mr. Peter Obi. It is said Jonathan has shown interest in returning to, party politics, and that the appeal is that constitutional term, one term, which provides that he can only serve one term, and he's been president before. And this is seen as good for power rotation agreement. And there's also, in the ADC, the dilemma is whether to support Atiku Abubakar or former Rivers Governor Rotimi Amechi, or even Obi, all of them talking about 110. Ben, what do you think about this Jonathan presidency? This kite has been flown for quite a while now. How does that make sense?
You see, one is worried. Even his own wife, Patience Jonathan, at a point was telling Tinubu's wife, look, when you come to campaign in Port Harcourt, I'll be on the same podium with you campaigning. In other words, is it that she took that decision before these consultations, or will there be a kind of taking back her words? But one is worried It all started from Obi. Obi, having seen that South surely will have the anything when it comes to zoning, just said he would do one single term. Now Atiku is saying he will do same. Rotimi Amechi the same. So why are they following Obi? Obi again. You see, he had changed how many times from one party to another. But all the same, should Jonathan return to that place? At the point, some people will say he never forgot anything in the State House. What will he just go there to do? When indeed there are young people, not too young to run, they are on ground. And their mentees that these people must have been mentoring to ensure that they take over this issue of the old brigade, gerontocracy as people will call it, government of the old people. I think it should be a thing of the past so that the young blood should be injected in Nigeria. Some people, however, feel that, look, why are we still talking of rotation when we should be talking of ideal people who can take Nigeria to a destination that is needed, not minding religion, tribal or regional affiliations. So I think that this idea of rotation, why don't we look at people of substance, credible people, men and women, to take the lead and rule now, or govern Nigeria rather?
You know, the Nigerian political class comes across as being as fickle as the Roman mob in Julius Caesar. I mean, vacillating from one point to the other. Now, the same Goodluck Jonathan, everybody was made to understand that this was the problem of Nigeria. Now they're quoting him as the beautiful bride. Same for Peter Obi. Every other political party aside from the APC feels that he should be the ideal candidate. And of course, you are talking about gerontocracy, and there is Atiku Abubakar, who will be 80 years old, or over 80, in 2027. So what exactly is he also looking for? There is a whole critical mass of young Nigerian politicians, entrepreneurs, leaders, but who is looking in that direction? So I just get this impression that it's all about grabbing for power, holding on to power, and staying in power.
All right. The Punch newspaper, still on politics and elections. The federal government warns of, there are two stories in the Punch. FG warns of 5-day flooding in 19 states. This is more than half of the country. Already floods have struck Ogun, Gombe, Lagos, Plateau, Anambra, and Delta. Money has been dispersed to the National Emergency Management Agency. And to the political story, presidential jet gulp 26.36 billion naira in 18 months under Tinubu. This indicates the high cost of maintaining the executive movement while the country groans from revenue shortfall. There are two arguments here. One, that the high amount is due to the weakness of the dollar, naira to the dollar. And secondly, that the presidency operates a large fleet. The presidential fleet is maintained by the Nigerian Air Force, and it transports the president, vice president, and other government officials, the senior ones. While this transport is needed, air transport for these officials, it's not a good look. Nevertheless, because of the level of poverty in the country, and this is just a tip of the iceberg, there are so many other expenditures on movement of executives, across the three arms of government, Yolanda.
Yes, let me pick up first on the initial story that you spoke about. That is on the front of the Punch newspaper that says FG warns of 5-day flooding in 19 states. We've been talking about this a little bit in the past, and it's come back once again. And they say a stitch in time saves 9, but unfortunately, even right now, looking at floods that are in the not so distant future, there's very little that people can do than to leave their homes that are in flood-prone areas and to move to safer ground. But I also hope that this is a wake-up call, for the FG to look at ways to mitigate this in the future. So we're not just looking at last-minute measures of warning people when it is far too late.
Yeah, yearly ritual.
Yes.
We're always talking about mitigating. Every year we talk about mitigating, but as soon as the rainy season is over, we just forget about the floods and stay where we are. We also have issues of, proper planning. People are allowed to build houses on flood plains. People are allowed to build houses across drainages, blocking them effectively. And every year we have this cycle of flooding. I bet you, as soon as this rainy season is over, even with all the flooding we're talking about, we will forget about it. We'll stay exactly where we are. There'll be no planning or urban tweaking to accommodate flood waters. And then next year, we'll still have the same problem.
All right, we couldn't get to that presidential jet, but we need to move to the next story, New Telegraph. 2027, early campaign breaches electoral law, INEC warns politicians. And the All Progressives Congress has already adopted President Bola Tinubu as candidate for 2027, while politicians in other parties are subtly campaigning. The Independent National Electoral Commission says such campaigns are inappropriate and illegal. So one wonders, I mean, INEC may be issuing statements, but can these parties be sanctioned, whether it's individuals or the party themselves? Ben, you know, what are your thoughts on this story?
Honestly, it goes beyond INEC just advising. We should be sanctioning some people. And if you check, go around Abuja city, you see neighbor to neighbor or door to door posters of the president, some other political parties and candidates, aspirants here and there. But I think that INEC should come in very, very harsh to ensure that there is a stable polity. You cannot just destabilize INEC and destabilize even the polity itself, the electorate. You have to follow what the law says. And what are the provisions of INEC, when INEC laws, when it comes to sanctioning people, a kind of to ensure that they are permitted to go into to go in line, to go to shape, and to ensure that they actually obey every law. It's not that people just feel this the president, like when they said even the president posters are all over the place. Some people from the villa said, look, this thing is coming by some people who felt they love the president. But you can also advise them, please tarry a while, wait a bit, let the whistle be blown. Outside that, you are helping the president to break the law.
Perhaps those in charge can begin by pulling down those posters, you know, to serve as a deterrent to others. Two more stories. The Guardian newspaper, we have here concerns over cargo clearance costs as it rises, you know, to 4%. So customs will now begin levying 4% collection charge on these cargoes. And then if we move to Daily Sun, Anglican Church in Nigeria cuts ties with Wales counterpart over LGBTQ issues. So the 4% customs levy replaces the 1% comprehensive import supervision scheme fee. This levy was first introduced in February 2024, but was suspended after public outcry. Now it's been reintroduced after consultations. I mean, government taxes and levies, this will simply be transferred to consumers. And as for the Anglican Church in Nigeria, it wants, you know, nothing to do with the Wales Church after the election of Bishop Sherry Van, a gay cleric, as the new Archbishop of Wales. Both churches in Wales and Nigeria making bold statements on this matter, very controversial matter. The Nigerian says it is against, the church says it is against biblical teachings, both headed in different directions. Any quick comments on this from anyone?
Well, it just reminds me about when the Global Anglican Communion, particularly in the United States and Europe, actually approved the appointment of gay bishops. The African Anglican Communion distanced itself from that decision and almost completely broke away from the Anglican Church. But reason prevailed eventually. There was an uneasy truce. Now the issue of sexual orientation has come up again, and then the tension in the Anglican Communion is about to simmer once more.
And just to inject this, if you check, there is a law in Nigeria that has outlawed all of this during Jonathan's time.
Yes.
And because of that law, remember, they denied Nigeria of hosting rights of Commonwealth Games and all that stuff. Even Obama ensured that Nigeria didn't even, they didn't import a cup of crude oil from Nigeria.
That's the law against same-sex union.
You know.
Yes. All right, let's move to the international headlines. Here, Daily Graphic. High lending rates era over. The Ghanaian Central Bank Governor, Dr. Johnson Asiama, tells the financial sector that with decline of inflation and strengthening of the cedi, high lending rates should be reassessed. The Citizen newspaper, to protect and serve the ANC. It is alleged that the police leadership has, stop policing certain crimes in which its political comrades are involved. Reactions still trailing the activities of the police force in South Africa, with the experts saying genuine improvement will be impossible without structural changes. And then Daily Mirror this morning, royal exclusive, Epstein, the Queen, and the royal bucks. Andrew pictured with pedo and Maxwell as Her Majesty attended escort. I mean, fascination about the Epstein files refuses to go away, both in the UK and in the US, amid revelations about Prince Andrew and his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. This heaps fresh embarrassment on the prince and, of course, the royal family. And in the US, a lot of the House of Reps actually issued a subpoena to obtain records related to Epstein. Yolanda, this is not going away anytime soon.
It's not going away. This is
they keep digging and digging.
Very true, and this is a very big blow for the royal family. People who are revered and respected all across the world are now involved in a pedophilic case. And now with this, with people calling for this list, this client list, to be brought out, it just puts everybody on their toes. Earlier, we reported that Bill Clinton and his wife will be also standing in court to give their testimony about their involvement in the Epstein case. So this is not something that's going away anytime soon. And I feel like even the highlights of this case are yet to come out.
Yeah, I know. The Guardian newspaper, from above, Gaza is like the aftermath of an apocalypse, as we can see from that photo. Still intense focus on Gaza and Israel to bring the war to a close. Moving on to Daily Express, Kemi, Labour concluding an assault on rural life, or conducting rather an assault on rural life. She speaks about Labour's inheritance tax on farms worth more than £1 million. Controversial, but Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves trying desperately to balance the budget, which we see in the next paper, Daily Mail. Reeves facing huge tax hikes to fill £50 billion black hole. Quick comment, Ben, very quick before we wrap up.
Honestly, I hope Kemi, since she has renounced Nigeria, she'll actually get it right there, because she's no longer our citizen. Whatever she does there, well, we just wish her luck. But anytime she feels like deriding any person, it has to be Nigeria. But in Britain there, if she feels she can make it right, make the Briton a better person, give them better life or whatever, good luck to Kemi.
All right.
But for us in Nigeria, we are watching.
Okay, indeed. Good luck to Kemi Badenoch. Ben Sherman, who is a former director of News Voice of Nigeria, always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And many thanks, Dr. Constance, for leading today's newspaper review. That's all we have time for here on Daybreak. I'm Charles Eruka. It's goodbye from me.
And I'm Yolanda Robert. Please do keep it here on Arise News. The morning show is next. Goodbye.